Shooby-dooby-doobity, shooby-dooby-doobity. This is a placeholder song, I hope. Hey everybody, welcome back to the All Men, the All Moments Eternally Nice podcast. I'm your host, Max Haddad, and it's one of those weeks. It's one of those weeks, and it might be one of those couple of months, unfortunately. But hey, first of all, what is this podcast about? This podcast is about stand-up, comedy, and it's about making all of our moments nice. Not just the good ones better, but making the bad ones okay. I'm going to get right into it today. I've got one thing on my mind, and I have to talk about it. I don't know what I'm going to name this episode, but it's probably already pretty revealing, would be my guess. I'm trying not to be too YouTubey, too clickbaity. You know what I mean? I don't want to throw one thing out there and then you come watch it and it's not actually what I said it was. So I'll probably try to make it a little catchy. We're going to try to turn oranges into apples. That's not the saying, but we're going to try to make lemonade out of lemons. There we go. That's a saying. So, yes, I did get new criminal charges. But before you get upset with me, just wait. I didn't do anything. I'm not innocent, per se. Drink my coffee. That's called building tension in the business. Here's what happened. I'm upset about this, by the way. I'm very upset about this. I'm so upset about this that I don't even know how upset I am. I've yet to even process how upset I actually am. I'm so upset that I forgot to turn off the fan in the background, so you might be hearing a fan. But it's going to be one of those episodes where there's just a fan on in the episode. And also, it might be a short episode. If it's a short episode, I'll do a longer one next week. That's my promise to you. But I'm feeling how I'm feeling. We're dealing with it. But I need to tell you what happened. So, there's a mall in the area where I live. And I took my rifle to the mall. No, I didn't. That's not what happened. I went to the mall. I'm at the mall. And I'm, what up, blah, blah, blah. And I leave the mall. Okay. It's about 3 p.m. I pull out of a parking space, driving forwards. Okay. This would be important later because the police would argue with me about which direction I was driving. I was driving forwards, and there's a woman who's walking from my right to my left in the parking lot. And I'm trying to avoid her. In hindsight, I just should have waited for her to pass. She wasn't that close to me. I wasn't that close to her. I drive a truck. It doesn't turn on a dime. It turns pretty wide. So I was just trying to be careful. Now, I very much overcorrected, okay? Nobody got hit. I didn't hit the woman. I overcorrected and I hit the car next to me on my way out, okay? I turned too far to the right. I hit the car's bumper. It's loud. It's bad. You can immediately tell that something happened. The woman who I was trying to avoid looked back at me like I just vomited on somebody. She was disgusted with how hard I hit this other car. I immediately stopped. I was very upset. I would literally the day before I was thinking, man, I'm a pretty good driver. I haven't been into an accident since I first started driving. When I was 15, there were icy roads. I was on the way to school, not 15, I guess I would have been 16, but 16 on the way to school, like literally had just turned 16, had my license, whatever. On the way to school, roads were icy. I was going too fast behind. There were cars stopped. I'm going too fast. I couldn't stop in time. When I hit the brakes, I slid. I didn't know that would happen. You know what I mean? It was one of those things that happens because you just got your license and you just don't know how to drive yet. You think you know how to drive because they gave you a license that says you know how to drive. You don't know how to drive yet. It takes a couple years of just driving to be a good driver. And even then, like now that I've been driving for 16 years, whatever it is, now I feel like, okay, I'm used to driving. It's totally second nature. You guys get it. You drive. You know what I'm talking about. I'm leaning heavily on this coffee. I'm going to be honest. Normally, I record this on Mondays. It's Tuesday, late in the day. I don't like that because that means I'm going to record this. I'm going to have to process it. Then I'm going to have to edit it, do all the uploading stuff, which takes a while. And I don't like the position I've put myself in, but I'm just kind of so out of it right now that I literally forgot to record yesterday. That hasn't happened a single time since this podcast started. I've never forgotten to record. I was sitting on the couch just now watching YouTube, just vegetating, sitting in my own filth, and realized that I hadn't done it yet. Proof to me that I'm not feeling great. So I hit the car. Let me ask you guys, and then I'm going to give you time to answer. If you were to hit a parked car in a mall, what would you do? What would you do? Would you drive off without doing anything? Okay, me neither. Would you leave a note? That's what I did. I left a note. The note said, verbatim, I damaged your car. I'm sorry. And then I left my phone number and name. That's what I did. This coffee is making me feel human again. It's going to be a weird episode. I'm just letting you know. It's going to be a weird episode. I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe this is what you love. Maybe you hate this. I don't know. By the way, if you don't fucking vape, what have you been doing with your life? You should vape. Vape. Especially kids and teenagers. I've been saying this. I feel like nobody's listening to me. Pick up the nicotine from your local vape shop. Put it in the mod of your choice. Get a nice colorful one that makes you happy to look at. And start vaping. I'm not gonna keep saying this every week. My dog thinks I'm actually upset. It's okay. You need to be vaping. This is going to be a vape-heavy episode. Heavy? It's going to be a happy-peppy. It's going to be a vape-heavy episode. That's just how I'm going to the vape. I'm going to the coffee. I'm going back to the vape. I'm out of breath from vaping. Okay, so what would you do? I'm serious. Say out loud what you would do. It's too hot to be wearing this vest. What would you do? Have you answered? I can't hear you. Say it louder. Norway, you guys are far away. You're going to need to probably yell. You might even need to go outside and yell. So I hit the car. I leave a note. I go home. I have a nice cheeseburger. Okay, I'm digging into a cheeseburger. Really good burger. One of the best burgers I've had in a long time. Fries, dipped in Dijonnaise, which is just Dijon mustard and mayonnaise. Sounds basic, sounds horrible. It's one of the best things you can dip fries into. I could eat this stuff by itself. It's tremendous. It's seriously life-changing. So good that I had almost forgotten I hit a car. Not completely, but almost. Sitting there eating my cheeseburger, dreading the amount of money I'm not wealthy, dreading the amount of money I'm going to have to pay to insurance to fix this other person's car. My truck, by the way, no damage, like scratches, not even scratches. I was able to rub the damage off with my thumb. I love driving a truck. It's completely compensates for how small my penis is. This thing, no damage, big hunk of chunk of metal. Tore the fuck out of this person's car, by the way. Ripped their bumper 6 inches off on one side. I mean, I fucked it up. Still drivable, I'm sure. No question, I didn't total their car. But it was bad. It wasn't great. My truck, fine. My truck, the bully of the neighborhood. Their truck, the nerdy kid who's good at math. Beat the shit out of it. So, eating the cheeseburger. I'm sitting. I'm comfortable. I get a phone call. I assume, okay, I don't recognize this number. This must be the person I hit. Here we go. Here's an awkward conversation, but we have to have it. Got to have this awkward conversation because we want to do the right thing. Did I want to leave without leaving a note? You fucking bet, dude. I don't have this money, but we're going to just do what we do. We got to do the right things. Pick it up. Hello? How can I help you? It's a fucking sheriff, okay? Unexpected, still not out of, still in the realm of possibility. This person calls the cops. Okay, let's just say this up front. I leave a note. They see the note. They immediately call the cops. Really? Okay. That's how I feel about it. You're going to call the cops? What are you doing? I don't know if this person's been hurt before. I don't know if people think that somebody's going to try to trick them. I left a fucking note, dude. I don't know how trustworthy I have to be. What am I trying to say? How much more trustworthy could I be? I don't know if there's cameras in the mall parking lot, but I could have just left. The only witness would have been that girl, and I could have taken a turn around the parking lot and hit her with my truck and then left. Easy crime. The sheriff asks me who I am. Are you the person that did this? Yes. He's friendly. I'm friendly. He asks me, can you come back to the scene of the accident just so we can get your information and ask you some questions? Also, at this point, I'm in a different county. Well, I'm not in a different county, but I'm in a different town. Okay, this happened in a town over. It's a different jurisdiction. I thought, okay, well, maybe they can't come to me without a warrant or something, which I certainly don't want them to get a warrant. So I say, yeah, I can meet you right now. Last thing I want to do, I'm eating a fucking burger. I'm vegetating for the day. I'm done. You know when you get in that zone where you're like, I have nothing left to do today. I'm just going to relax. It's been kind of a rough one. We're not going to do anything. I don't want to go. But what am I going to do? Say no? So I say, yeah, I'll meet you right now. In the jail in my town, when you are in, like, let's say you go to the drunk tank. For those of you that don't know what the drunk tank is, it's a shitty holding cell they put you in with 10 other people sharing one toilet. It's freezing. The lights are constantly on. You're lucky if they're not playing a movie like Who Framed Roger Rabbit at full volume, because that's what happened to me. Full volume all night, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. They know what they're doing. They're trying to torture you. So you go from there. When you get processed in the general population, you're only allowed to take in with you what the jail has given you, or a white undershirt, white boxers, and white socks. Like I said, freezing in the jail. First time you go to jail, you guys know I've got some experience with this. First time you go to jail, you have no idea what the rules are, because nobody fucking tells you what the rules are. Also, you get arrested, you get taken to the drunk tank, you're probably not wearing white boxers, white socks, and a white undershirt. When you get better at going to jail, you know, I'm going to make sure I have these things on me. Like when I got sentenced and I knew I would be going to jail. I go to court that morning. Before court, horrible. Worst time of my life, by the way. No question. The only things I can imagine worse than that period of my life, it's going to be when my dad and mom die. And that's it. I can't think of anything worse. And to be honest, when they die, it's going to be a different kind of bad. It's not even going to be the same kind of bad. So it might not even be comparable. So going to court, I would put on my white t-shirt, my white boxers, and my white socks. When you put on white boxers, you feel like you're in a hospital. Who the fuck is wearing plain white boxers? You know what I mean? Are you a Mormon? It's just, why would you wear something more colorful? So as I'm going to leave my house to meet this police officer at the scene of the accident, I have the thought, there's no way that this is leading to me getting arrested, right? Should I put on my fucking white shirt, white boxers, and white socks? No, you don't have to do that. Be optimistic. You're going to be fine. So I don't do it. But I had the thought. I had the fucking thought. That's how traumatized I am. Any interaction with a cop, and I'm asking them to hold on so I can change into my jail boxers. So I drive out 20 minutes to meet them. Keep that in mind. I drive out to meet them. I bring my insurance card, I bring my driver's license, I bring some other fucking thing that I can't remember what it is. Insurance? Oh, registration. Registration, insurance, and driver's license. I get there. There's first bad sign. 3 police officers there. 3 different marked cars there. That's a lot of cops to be meeting me for a traffic accident where no one got hurt. That's a lot of cops. Now, I'm not immediately taken aback necessarily because the place that I live, the cops are, how should I say this? Fucking horrible and bored and not actually doing a good job. So when they get an opportunity to do anything, they show up in spades. They just can't wait. There's real things happening, but they would rather deal with this. They get to come out, bring the gun, bring the taser, show up in force, look like a cool guy. So they're all there. I'm not horribly surprised, but that's the first bad sign. I get out of the car. I shake the guy's hands, all 3 of them, say thanks for meeting with me. He takes my ID, my registration, and my insurance card. Second bad sign, and this is when I knew things were going south. Instead of writing anything down, he immediately sets them on the hood of his car. And as soon as he set them on the hood of his car, I knew what that meant. I've seen the mannerisms enough times that I knew what was about to happen. He asked me to turn around. He asked me to turn around, and then you guys know what that means. He started putting me in handcuffs. And it makes me really upset because I have dealt with this shit before already. And so it brings me back to being in handcuffs. And I earned being in handcuffs before. I don't think I earned it this time. So it brings me all the fucking way back to the worst period of my life. And I ask, as I'm being handcuffed, am I being arrested right now? And they say, no, you're just being detained. Which is kind of bullshit. Just so you guys know the difference. Detained means the police officers want to make sure that they're safe, so they're putting you in handcuffs to restrain you. Now, my opinion is, there's 3 of you here. You have guns, you have nightsticks, you have tasers, you have mace. And you still don't feel safe in a 3 versus 1 against me? Okay, sure, you can detain me. And here's the deal too. If you don't want to be detained, now you're definitely going to jail. Okay? So you don't have a choice in being detained or not. It's not an option. You either submit to being submitted or you're going to jail. I'm trying to avoid jail at this point. So they say, no, you're just being detained. And I say, oh, thank God. Truly, out loud, I said that. Because at this point, I just don't want to go to jail. I don't have my boxers on. I'm not ready. Let me take a sip of coffee. Let me hit my fucking vape. So, he reads me my Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. You don't have to talk to us if you don't want to. You can get a lawyer. Let me clue you guys on this one too. When they read you your rights and they tell you that you have the right to remain silent, you don't have to talk to us yet. You can talk to your lawyer first. What that is actually saying is, if you don't talk to us right now, we're taking you to jail and you're going to be held there until they decide your lawyer can come in. It doesn't mean you get to go do whatever you want and we'll meet later with a lawyer. Even though you haven't been proven guilty, Even though a court of law has not decided your fate, these three strangers that don't know you from anyone else get to decide what your life looks like for the next weeks. Okay? It's not what they say it is. It's a lie. There's a lot of double speech when it comes to talking to the police. They're going to say one thing and it means something else. Okay? They are telling you, they're basically veiled threats over and over again. Again, I wouldn't know that if I was going through it my first time. Luckily, I had some experience, so I knew what the fuck they were actually telling me. So he ends reading me Miranda rights. He says, so are you going to talk to us right now? Meaning, are you going to talk to us right now, or are we taking you to jail? So I said, sure, I'll talk to you right now. Again, because this is not a criminal case as far as I'm concerned. I know what I did. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not trying to get out of trouble. I shouldn't be in trouble. So they start asking me about what happened. And I tell them what happened. I tell them exactly what I told you guys. And that's when the cop starts trying to tell me that, no, you weren't pulling out of the parking space. You must have been backing into the parking space. The reason he's thinking this is because you guys know when there's a parking spot open and then the parking spot in front of it is open and you pull all the way through. You pull all the way through into that parking spot. At no point did I back into the spot I was in. I only pulled out of it. He could not possibly understand how that happened. I tried to explain to him that there were two open spots and I pulled through. That didn't mean anything to him. I said it again a different way. Went over his head. Finally, thank God, because now he's getting pissed. Now he's saying, no, that's not what he's raising his voice. He's not believing me. He's now starting to insinuate that I'm lying to him about something. Thank God his partner... I'm pulling punches here, by the way. I'm pretty angry. Thank God his partner is a little bit more adept than he is. And his partner explains to him, no, listen, he went all the way through. And so he's, oh, I get it. Oh, you get it? Okay, good. I'm glad you finally got it. Now that someone else with a gun told you what happened. I'm hitting my vape. If you're not fucking vaping with me right now, you should be ashamed of yourself. There's wires laying on my desk, and the way that they're draped makes them look like a penis. There's two balls in a shaft. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't have to tell you. You're welcome. So I ask again, guys, what's going on? Why am I going to jail for this? Why does it seem like I'm going to jail? And they said, you're not necessarily going to jail. It depends on how this goes. Meaning, you're not going to question us. You're not going to raise your voice. You're not going to try to defend yourself. You're just going to answer our questions. You have no right, when you're being quote-unquote detained, to express any self-interest or any self-preservation. Okay? You have to completely submit to the will of these three strangers who you don't trust. Right? Your freedom goes out the window as soon as you interact with the police. And they wonder why we don't respect them. As soon as you interact with the police, your freedom is gone. It's gone. So pretty quickly they realize that I'm not going to be angry. I'm not freaking out. Can I repeat something, by the way? Just so we don't forget. I left a note on the car with my information on it. They tell me that I'm being charged with a misdemeanor hit and run. I'm being charged with a crime, a hit and run. A hit? Yes. A run? I don't see it. I'm not seeing the run part. Here's what they told me I should have done. I should have either called the police. Okay, fine. Didn't even occur to me, guys. To be honest with you, you know why it didn't occur to me? Because last time I was in court for something even vaguely related to this, And that all plays in. My criminal history obviously plays in here. They told me, if you hit something with your car, leave a note. That's what a judge told me. So that's what I did. Also, what have we heard our whole lives? You hit somebody, they're not there, you leave a note. It didn't occur to me to call the police. You know what occurred to me? I need to call my insurance company. Why do I need to involve the police? Why do they even need to be there? Who are they here for? Nobody's hurt. What do you guys, why do we need you here? We don't need you here. Go do something. Go do something that matters. So, or here's the other option. I was outside of Dick's Sporting Goods. For those of you that don't know, that aren't from here or whatever, Dick's Sporting Goods is a very poorly named sporting good place that sells everything. They sell athletic clothing, they sell bikes, they sell weights, they sell basketballs, they sell soccer balls, they sell fucking canoes, they sell everything. They sell guns, they sell knives. No surprise they sell guns, right? So this is America. I need coffee. So they told me that I should have gone into Dick's Sporting Goods and left them a note with my information on it. What the fuck are you talking about? I should have gone into a sporting goods store when I hit someone's car and gone and talked to the 15-year-old cashier and left him my information? What does that have to do with anything? That was the closest store I was to, I guess. By the way, this mall, that parking lot, is connected to 15 different locations, 15 different businesses. How do you know that dude was in... I don't even know if it's a guy that I hit. How do we know... I don't know the person's name. I don't know anything about them. I'm going to call him a dude. How do we know that that dude was in Dick's Sporting Goods? And also, how do we know that they're not working? How do we know any... Even if they're in Dick's Sporting Goods, why am I involving the business? I didn't hit them. I didn't drive through the fucking front window into the canoe section. Why would we bring them into... It doesn't make any sense. This is between me and the person that I hit and our insurance companies. Why? That makes no sense. That makes even less sense than calling the police. You know when I would call the police? Is if there's a crime being committed that I can't stop myself, you know? And even then, I don't know, because fucking shit. After this, especially. Before, I already didn't trust the police. Now, I'm like, okay. I was finally starting to get over that fuck the police business. Now, I'm just like, you guys are really, you know, to put it lightly, pretty bad at what you do. So it's been a rough one, guys. It's been, you know, I'm brought back to my history. I think a lot of what happened had to do with my criminal history. I don't know if they would have handcuffed me if I didn't have a criminal history. I suspect they would have anyways because of the county that I'm in. The county that I'm in is notorious for having police that are bored and looking for something to do, and notorious for having police that are basically kids that were bullied in high school, and now they're just excited that they get to have some semblance of power. So they're crueler and busier than they need to be. And by busier, I mean they're going to put you in handcuffs when they don't need to. My opinion, here's what should have happened. Sir, just so you know, thank you for leaving the note. I think I should have been thanked for being honest. Thank you for leaving the note. Just so you know, in the future, if anything like this happens, God forbid, you need to call us because technically we could charge you with a hit and run, even though you left a note. I know it's crazy, but technically we could do that. We're not going to do that. That's what should have happened. They had that choice. They had the choice to do that or not. I'm not going to buy anybody telling me anything about, no, they have to do what the law says. It's up to them what they do. You're going to tell me that people aren't letting people go with stuff? You don't think cops are, somebody litters and then the cop stops them and they get out of the littering ticket because they say, sorry, my mom just died. You don't think shit like that's happening. It's happening. Yes, cops have some amount of agency. And when I left a note, they should have given me a lot more leniency than just not taking me to jail. That's the thing. They wanted me to be grateful that I wasn't just going to jail. Jail shouldn't have ever been in the equation. Handcuffs shouldn't have been ever in the equation. When I left the scene, I had marks on my wrist for the next 2 hours from how tight the handcuffs were. Now, I'm not a little bitch. I'm fine. I've been handcuffed before. I can take it. But there's a reasonable response to what I did, and there's an unreasonable one. And there were only a couple things they could have done worse than what they did. They could have beat the shit out of me and shot me, and they could have taken me to jail. Those are two things that they could have done that they didn't do. And one of those felt like it was on the table. And actually, both of them felt like they were on the table, if I'm being honest, because had I mouthed off a little bit and then quote-unquote resisted arrest, because that's what they call it, by the way. When they don't like what you're doing because your freedom is being impinged upon, or you don't feel safe, so you try to protect yourself, they call it resisting arrest. Boy, do I not like the police. And I'm glad I have a platform like this to talk about it. And I'm glad that I do stand up so I can talk about it there too. This is going to become a funny joke someday. And sooner rather than later. I'm already starting to work on ways that I can make it funny so I can take it to stage, because that's my revenge. Now, what have I done? I called my insurance company, obviously. I called my lawyer. I'm going to have to spend an awful lot of money on a lawyer, because the only acceptable outcome to this is that it gets dismissed. That's the only acceptable outcome. I don't want a ticket. I don't want community service. I don't want probation. I'm not worried about going to jail, but I don't want any of those things. And it's not that I just don't want them. It's that I don't think I deserve any of them. The shit that I did before in my life, and again, if you're curious what I did, go watch the first video I ever uploaded. It's literally about, not the first podcast episode, but the first video on my channel. It's literally me saying everything that I did. I was a lot newer to YouTube then. I didn't know how to talk into a camera as well as I do now. So it might not be entertaining. I don't fucking know, and I don't really care. It's all of the facts that you need. I have a year and some change of videos all about my criminal history, about prison, about other prisons. So if you're curious, go watch that. Please go watch that, in fact. I put a lot of work into that stuff. So my lawyer's plan is to move. First of all, he's going to take it from the courthouse. I've got court scheduled. I have to go to court. He's going to take it from the courthouse it's scheduled at, and he's going to move it to my local courthouse. The reason is he knows the people that work there better. He knows the judges. He knows the prosecutors. He's got more pull there. Secondly, I know the judges and prosecutors. I've been in fucking court enough that they know me. They know how I used to behave, and they know how I behave now. There was a time, guys, when my life was at its worst, where I'm not going to give you all the details because of statute of limitations shit, but I'm going to tell you part of it. And I hit a flagpole, and I knocked the fuck out of that flagpole, and I drove off. I didn't knock on any doors. I didn't leave any note. I tried to get away with it, and I didn't, because somebody saw me hit it. Now, that's how I used to handle things. How do I handle them now? Oh gosh, I leave notes. So they're going to see not only did he do what he thought he was supposed to do, he being me, Max did a better job than he used to. He's trying to improve. They're going to see that I tried to do the right thing. And that it counts for a lot in the court's eyes. And I'm not just saying that it does. One thing I'll say is, I don't want to say 100% because that sounds like I'm exaggerating, and it doesn't feel unfair, but I just don't want you to think I'm blowing smoke or trying to convince you of something. I'm just trying to be honest here. So I'll say 98% of the interactions I've had with police have been completely one-sided and based only in them trying to feel empowered and them being the bully. 98% of the time, it has to do with them exerting their power over you. Not fair. Has nothing to do with you getting better or protecting anyone. You know what? And there was one interaction I had with a cop when I was having a psychotic episode, and he was really good to me. So I will say he can be that 2%. He could have shot me, and he didn't. So I appreciate that. Every judge I've interacted with has been fair. They haven't all been nice, and they haven't all done what I wanted them to do, but they've all been fair. So I'm hopeful and I have faith that this is going to end with a dismissal. But let's talk about amen shit. What am I doing right now to not feel like a complete horseshit? I'm taking care of myself. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing the best I can at what I can do. And to be honest with you guys, today, that was nothing. That was nothing. I saw my parents for a little bit to pick up some leftovers that they weren't going to eat from a cookout they had yesterday. And that's it. I was going to go to the gym. I don't have it in me. I'm not going to the gym. I was going to write. I don't have it in me. I took some notes, jotted a couple things in my phone. That's it. That's all I got. I'm going to fucking chill out. And you know what? If I need to do it tomorrow too, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. There's an open mic I would like to go to tomorrow. And come 9 p.m. tomorrow night, if I'm not feeling up to going out, I'm not going to go out. I'm going to let myself process this. I'm not going to try to ignore it. I'm not going to try to force it away. I'm going to sit through it, feel like shit about it until I start to feel better and I start to feel like doing things again. That's what I'm going to do. It's not going to take weeks. You know, I can't say for sure, but I don't think it's going to take weeks. The hardest part is feeling like I'm back living the life I was living before. And that's simply not true. I'm not living the life of a criminal anymore. I'm not an active heroin user. I'm not robbing pharmacies. I'm a very different person. But I hadn't been in handcuffs in a long time, and it was pretty upsetting. And I don't mean to be a drama queen. Just, if you've been there, you've been there. If you've been locked up before, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to end the episode here. It is a short episode. I will do a longer episode next week. This is just what I got for you guys this week. And I know that you would want to know. And I'm going to be fine. Not just today, but moving forward, I'm going to be fine. Don't worry too much about me. But protect yourselves. If you hit a car, make sure you go to the fucking canoe section of Dick's Sporting Goods and let some 14-year-old who's working there for $7.25 an hour know that you hit somebody's car and that you would like to not go to jail. So just make sure you handle it how they want you to handle it, okay? Okay, stay safe. Care about you guys. Thank you for being here. I am sorry for the short episode, but please just understand. Thank you. Talk to you next week. Bye.